Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Nerd Dad's Chat. I'm Rob.
I'm Ted.
I'm Eric.
And tonight we're going to talk about TV shows that we enjoy watching with our kids. I'm going to kick it off myself with one of the favorites in our household, which is The Amazing World of Gumball. And I think you guys watch this too, don't you?
Yes, we do. We love it.
Yep. And do you guys watch it over your house?
Yes.
Yeah. So, so a show that's very much aimed at a kid audience, but very intentionally written to an adult audience, with all kinds of subtle humor that the kids won't get, that adults certainly will, but the kids are still going to eat it up because it's a cartoon, no matter what way you look at it.
And they always laugh when they see mom and dad laughing
Yeah. They take their cue from us.
too. Right.
One of the things I personally absolutely love about the show is I love the real life background with it, and it's actual real 3D background life, but then of course it's just 2D cartoons coupled with 3D cartoons that look like Muppets, coupled with old style animation, just tons of different formats that kids won't even be able to say, what is that even in reference to? A lot of times, whereas we'll be like, oh yeah, that's totally, I remember that style from way back in the day.
Yeah.
And speaking of art style, there is no consistent art style.
No.
Each family
None.
has their own separate style of art. You know,
Yep.
so like
Yeah.
Gumball and his family are drawn a certain way.
Yep.
But then there's like the banana character who's in
Yeah,
3D.
Banana Joe.
And then you'll have origami, and you'll have realistic looking CGI, and then you'll have
Yep.
something that looks Lego, and nothing is the same. And especially when you have multiple characters at the same time.
Yes.
It's not like you have one artist that's trying to do multiple different things. It's different artists with each separate character.
With attributes to complete homages to completely different stuff. There's the mom and the son where she's just like an orange blob and he's just a little blue, and he's like, yes, mother, yeah, that one. And I swear that's supposed to be to Nick Jr. You know, the Nick Jr. animation
that's
style where it's just these
true.
colors
Good
like
call.
that. Then there's the librarian in the school she's a flickering tree. Like she's flickering like she's from like a 1930s Disney cartoon.
Yeah.
Tree, which, you know, again, who's going to pick up on that? It's good, subtle humor like that also.
Along the same lines, I love how the episodes, same thing. The only constant is the world that they take place in, but the episodes are completely different from one episode to another. There's no, I mean, I can't even describe it, but they are so genuinely creative.
Yes.
Episode to episode. And they'll focus on different characters, but they all just are hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Different characters and different nods. Like there's the episode where Nicole, the mom, gets in fight with the Rain Cloud mom, and they just slip into an anime fight.
Yep.
And the kids are even making fun of this. It's like, I can't get anywhere on these tiny little legs because they're anime style now.
And my personal favorite, amidst the Final Fantasy RPG
Yes.
homage, is priceless. It is so good.
I love anything to do with Richard, the dad. Typically, I say, and I stand by this, typically I say that they too much make the doofy dad character.
Yeah.
And I'm personally tired of it. You know, Homer Simpson, okay, great. And then you go to Family Guy, and then then you go to almost any other cartoon ever, and it's always the dad that's the doofy dad, and the mom's the one who holds everything together, which is true in this show.
Mm-hmm.
However, I still like what they do with Richard.
Because it's so extreme.
Yes.
That there's like it's not just him dopey, he's below childlike.
Yes.
So
There's an episode where he tries to get a job, and Nicole stops him because it's against the laws of nature for him to have a job. And there's another one where it's a whole never-ending story montage where he has car tags his car and goes in. Again, things kids aren't going to pick up on.
Right.
Yes.
It's an amazing show.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful, and both my boys and I love it.
one that I enjoy going completely in a different direction, and our family has really gotten into it, is one that we will watch together as a family and get angry at each other if one skips ahead for an episode because we're afraid of spoilers and what have you, is Miraculous, which is a French anime. I believe it's a French animated show, and they've dubbed everything into English. And I think it originally was started broadcast in the States, Nickelodeon. We watched on Netflix. There's been about 2 seasons so far, 24 episodes per season, and it's an action-esque type show. Its main premise is there's these little magical creatures called Miraculouses that can give special powers to specific, like the chosen individuals to be able to help society. And there's 2 young children that, or they're not too young, they're teenagers. That one is a rich model kid, a male or a boy that has some issues with his father, trying to get the attention after his mother dies. And then there's this young girl who is the child of the owners of the local bakery, and they go to the same school together. And they end up getting these magical creatures. Meanwhile, there's a villain in town that you later find out is the boy's dad, but they don't know it. There's random situations where the main villain character can possess other people in the town who are depressed or angry or sad, and use that anger to fuel the monster that they become. And so each episode has a different monster type character that the 2 main characters. The girl becomes a character named Ladybug Girl. The young boy becomes Cat Noir. So that's when an adult explains a situation or the show like I just did, it sounds convoluted and dumb, but it's a typical superhero secret identity superhero story set with high school kids. And there is a continuing story where they try to see if they can figure out who each person is, and the will they, won't they kind of romance between the 2 lead characters. And especially when with it being a Netflix show and how you don't want to spoil it ever, one continuous storyline. And what we enjoy doing is trying to figure out when they will see if they know who each person is, or we just enjoy trying to figure out all the plot devices and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so
see if I understand it, because I haven't seen it. So there's like a little non-human creature who like cultivates supernatural powers for good in these kids, but then there's an evil guy who turns out to be one of those kids' dads, who taps into the dark side of all of these emotions for people.
Right.
And then does he end up cutting off the son's hand later?
No, well, Netflix has only done half of the 2nd season, so I haven't seen the hand severing scene yet. But maybe we'll find out later on once Netflix loads it up. So.
No, that one does sound like a good one. And you said it's on Netflix. What did you say it started with?
I think Nickelodeon also broadcasted. Not as all. Right now, Nickelodeon seems to be dedicated solely to SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Very much like how Cartoon Network does Teen Titans Go.
Right.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, don't set your DVR to either of those. It'll fill them up really quick. Really quick.
Do you watch Teen Titans Go at home?
Yes. We do, yeah. And it's on our DVR, and every day it's like 48 episodes recorded. So, thanks. But no, Teen Titans Go is one of our go-tos in the morning when we're getting ready for school sometimes. Because they're short little... The beauty of both, like, with the one that Rob liked, Gumball and Teen Titans Go is... They're short little mini episodes, about 12 minutes each.
Yep.
So they're great for just little snippets of entertainment.
Again, no ongoing continuity.
Yeah.
Each episode is completely
episode
its
self-contained.
Yep.
They're funny.
Yeah.
Even though there are 5 superhero characters that we've known throughout, the history of DC Comics.
Yep.
But it has very little to actually do with their comic book adventures.
Correct.
But it's just random scenarios.
In fact, it more parodies their comic book adventures than tries to add to them in any way.
But the weird thing is, I've seen the original Teen Titans Go animated series, Teen Titans animated series. I like the characters in Teen Titans Go better.
Yeah, well, it's because they're not so serious.
Right, but I feel like it's more their character, You
do realize that with those words, if anybody on the internet hears those words come out of your mouth, you have doomed this.
My address is 5249.
No, but I think what I love is when a show can parody its own self, but in this case, it's parodying its own former self. Like whenever what's his name, Control Freak on there, and he makes them watch old episodes of it, or makes them live through an old episode, but with all new lines talking over it, and you just. laugh your butt off. It's
Right.
like that's so great that
So
they're able to
good.
do
The
that.
fact that the show creators recognize that there are so many angry fans that it's gone to this more childish version as opposed to the pseudo anime style that it used to be.
Yep.
And to completely recognize the absolute rage that the fandom felt once it switched over. That's just brilliant. Like we
It's so
acknowledge that you don't like our art style. We acknowledge you don't like the fact that it's how potty.
So we're just gonna go more with it.
Yes.
I mean, their battles with the enemies are the afterthought. It's more they're arguing over who ate the last sandwich
Yeah.
and fighting amongst themselves for 12 minutes.
Which actually that's a point in our household. So I really enjoy the show. Our kids really enjoy the show.
Mhm.
It has become very contentious in our house whether the kids watch it or not because the characters are so conceited and they're
Yeah.
very
Yes.
self-absorbed. It's like the kids' version of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Where they're just not they're by themselves. They're not good people,
Right,
And
right.
yet they're heroes, and yet they're not good people. So in our house, especially when they go, when my kids visit my parents, they have cable. We just have Netflix,
Yeah.
so we don't get Teen Titans Go unless we catch it on
Yep.
YouTube.
Same
or something.
story.
And so it has become a rule. Here's the remote. If you want to watch TV, do not watch Teen Titans Go. We know when Teen Titans Go is on, which is Cartoon Network all the time.
Yeah.
So they know they can't go to that show. And while there's other shows that they will watch, like Gravity Falls is one that they'll watch and really enjoy. And the humor is slightly the same. At the same time, the characters in Gravity Falls are much more of a family unit. Yes, they'll be,
Yeah.
they'll joke around with each other from time to time, but it's not, the snarky mean, and so whenever my kids watch it, they get attitudes as soon as they're done watching it. And I'm still laughing from watching the show, and my wife and especially, or when I go over to my parents' house and, I'm laughing at it, like the kids just became jerks. So it's a show that I have to negotiate many times, both with the kids, like, you're going to behave after we're done watching this, or else we can't
Yes.
watch anymore.
Yeah.
And they just released a movie as well, and I want to take the kids to the movie, and I said, Sage, the kid's been really good. Let's take him to the movie. And I got a loud. You know how I feel about that show. So we ended up not going to this.
we actually did go and see it, and actually it was okay. It wasn't phenomenal. I didn't feel it was worth its own full film. It was some good humor, but not tons and tons. Actually, the better memory for my boys and I was we were the only people in the theater. So we watched the whole movie, just the three of us, and then we got up and we danced in the aisles while the credits were
That's
rolling,
awesome.
just because we could. And now we can say we did that. Yeah.
So I have a series that just started on Netflix. It's called the Dragon Prince, and I'm excited about it because with the guy who made it also made Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was on Nickelodeon many years ago, and that was a series that I kind of got hooked on when I was homesick one day, and they were running a marathon, and I kind of got hooked on it, and then I bought the series DVDs, and I was actually surprised, but my kids and my wife, we were running just full out, like 10-hour marathons of it because they got really hooked on it. And that was a great one. I mean, most of these cartoon series are funny and there's humor in it, but it was also kind of deep and it was almost a little bit adventure, a little bit fantasy, a little bit, not just straight laughs. And my kids were asked some really deep questions about it, and my wife really got into it. And so now the creator of that's making a new series, same kind of animation style, similar, not same world or same characters, but similar kind of story. But so we're really excited about that one.
So
Yeah.
that show was it just a limited run show, or is it going to be continuing? How many episodes on Netflix is it so far?
With the new one, the Dragon Prince,
yeah.
you know what? I watched the first 2 episodes. I didn't look to see how many episodes there was. I'm assuming if it's going to be like some of the other animated series on Netflix, they'll do like a season, which will be like 13, 14 episodes, and then a year later they'll do another season. Like Troll Hunters is another one on Netflix, and that's what they've been doing. They're up to season 3 or 4, I think. So
And you guys watched that one too,
was
right?
like their first original.
yeah,
Wasn't
and Troll Hunters I did not have high hopes for it, but it was really good. Guillermo del Toro does it. he's a great world builder. He creates some pretty fantastical creatures and worlds.
Yeah.
And you can definitely see his mark on it. Again, my whole family, even my wife, really got into it because the character development's really good in it. And there's definitely an overarching storyline. There's kind of a, you want to tune in to the next episode, because it definitely has like a cliffhanger at the end of each episode. So
and that's that's kind of the funny thing too, because really good cartoon shows these days go one of those two angles where it's either continuing building like Avatar, which you gave me for my birthday this last year, and my boys burned through it. My wife and I are still finishing it, but
awesome.
Same thing there. It builds and builds and builds, and it is an ongoing story. Or you have the super ridiculous, funny ones like we were talking about earlier with both Gumball and Teen Titans, where no matter how destructive or no matter what happened that was just world-ending at the end of one episode, it's just back to zero at the beginning of the next one. Just hit the reset button and we just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So it's two very big extremes in TV shows. Even with the two Teen Titans TV shows, like the first one was more of the build an ongoing story one, and the second one is just 15 minutes, and that's an entire continuity.
The great thing is we have so much choice, depending upon what your mood is.
A lot of the shows that we've talked about, all of them have been animated so far.
Yeah.
There's two programs. One, my wife and I enjoy a lot more than my kids, and the other one actually, and then there's a second one that is kind of a mixed bag within our family. It all depends on the mood. The first one, Once Upon a Time, which was a show that ran for a while on ABC. Netflix has all the shows now. That's a show that for my wife and I, we want to watch in order. My kids can jump in at any time because every episode is a self-contained, parody of a classic children's tale. Usually revolving around Disney characters, but now set in a different world. We really enjoy that one. The second one, the Netflix version of Lemony Snicket's, a series of events with Neil Patrick Harris. I really dug it. My wife is kind of iffy. My daughter loved it. My son hated it. So it was just but the art style of that show is so gorgeous, and I think my daughter enjoys it because she's so into Harry Potter right now. And there's the art style. It's kind of Harry Potter-ish, but also kind of Tim Burton-esque in nature at the same time, which appealed to her. The fact though that it's a series of unfortunate events, and it's so many times it's the character is still and distraught at the end of the episode. We made it through the first season. We haven't started the second yet. Which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the second season is the last remaining books.
I don't know because I never read all of them.
Okay, because
season one story is not done yet, and we have finished season 2.
Okay,
and the story is not done.
Okay,
so I'm positive there's a season 3 coming.
Yeah, season 1 I believe was the first 6 books.
Sure,
and then so I guess the remaining 2 are the following book. And my wife had read the books. Especially for the first 6, and she said that by and large it was pretty faithful to the original text.
Well, and I'd imagine that was important because there was the film a while ago with Jim Carrey where they kind of tried to cram the whole story into a single movie. So I'm sure with doing this, they very much wanted to do the opposite of that and stay true. Caden absolutely loves the show, loves it. We watched season 1 last year, and we looked up when season 2 was going to be, and he remembered when it was going to be coming up. At first, it was supposed to come up right at the New Year. So so New Year's Eve, he was reminding me, New Year's Day, Dad, it's time to watch. Turned it on and found out it wouldn't be out till March. That did not go well at all. But as soon as it came out, we just burned through it. And he's the same thing. He and I absolutely loved it. The rest of the family could float in and out as they felt whatever. But yeah, my youngest, his attention can't be held that long for a show, whereas Caden and I could sit and watch 4 or 5 in a row and not break our attention once.
One show our family hasn't explored yet, kind of going back to the animated world, are the Star Wars animated series. Have either of your families dove into those? Because my kids enjoy Star Wars, but we haven't, for whatever reason, haven't tackled that show yet.
Yeah, so my kids have watched the Clone Wars. My oldest, especially, that with the Clone Wars, that gets a little deep, and it's definitely a long. I mean, each episode technically is self-contained, but the storyline is long. My oldest really got into it. My youngest, kind of like your youngest Rob would jump in and out here
Yeah.
and there.
Yep.
But my oldest really liked it. He really liked how it sets up a lot of the meaning of the things you see in the movies.
Mhm.
You know, it's kind of a lot of backstory for the movies.
Mhm.
So he really got into that. And then Rebels. I watched the whole thing of Rebels. Both my kids watched about half to 3/4 of it. And they didn't mind missing that as much. But again, that sets up so much of the backstory between the two trilogies,
Mm-hmm.
the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. So, really well done. The animation's top notch. You get to see known characters here and there, which is always fun. It introduces some great new characters. And just seeing how the storylines tie into everything else is kind of a nice treat for the kids. They feel like they know something that other people might not know,
Do both whole series take place between episode 1 and 2? Or I mean 2 and 3 rather, I meant?
No, so so the first one takes place between episode 2 and 3
Right.
when the Clone Wars. With the second one is between the prequels and the trilogies.
Oh, okay.
So with the Empire's there, and it's the start of the rebellion.
Okay. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
With so Disney is going to be starting their own streaming service, and one of the big
Mhm.
selling points is they're going to do the final season of Clone
The
Wars.
Clone Wars, yes.
Was so you said that you did watch through all?
Yeah.
Did you watch? Does at the end of the show or of the current seasons, is there enough to allow a final season?
Yeah, because it kind of wraps up, but you were sort of left hanging a bit at the end of Clone Wars, because I think they were always meant to do another season, and when Disney bought Star Wars, it kind of
It was a Cartoon Network show.
It kind of
wasn't
ended there, and then that's when they started up Rebels with Disney. So it was kind of an abrupt ending. So they have enough storyline to kind of continue another season for it.
And that'll be the one where they tie in the Marvel characters.
Oh, totally.
Yep,
Disney
absolutely.
princesses swoop in, and the synergy between the franchises. One thing, I know we're getting a little bit long here, but actually we're not too bad. Good, we can gap for longer than I thought. One of the things that thanks to the streaming services is being able to go back to the shows
Yeah.
that we grew up on.
Yep.
Have you? You own the DVDs to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yep.
Have you sat down with the kids and watched?
Actually, yes. The thing is they and it just hasn't stuck with them the way that I would have loved to have seen it.
Mhm.
And you can't push things, on them too much. Same thing. I've watched just a little bit of the old 1980s Transformers with them too, and that hasn't
That's what
stuck
we
huge, which was interesting. And maybe I should try it again. But Levi especially was absolutely enamored with the Rescue Bots. A few
Mhm.
years back,
Yes.
when he was 2, 3, 4 years old, he was absolutely enamored with the Rescue Bots. So maybe that's one where I could try to hit it again, because my two favorite 80s ones were He-Man, which, like you said, I own the full run, and then Transformers, which I'm sure can find online easily. I know it was on, I think, Netflix, the full thing.
Yeah. So we were watching the original Transformers too, and same thing. My kids kind of liked the origin story of it, but they didn't really get into it. I think the animation and the action was a little bit simple for them.
Yeah.
But one which they liked was Transformers Prime,
Oh,
which was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. That, if you are a Transformers fan, that is a fabulous show. That goes into a whole bunch of history, the whole kind of conflict on Earth between Autobots and Decepticons. That was a really well done show.
yeah, I think the boys watched it. Is it more computer animated?
It's a more of a 3D computer
Yeah.
CGI animation, but the story of it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
I feel like I watched the finale with the boys on that one.
Yeah.
We did Rescue Bots as well.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have to check out Prime. It was what I liked again about Rescue Bots. There was a continuing, even though it was aimed at really young kids.
Yeah.
There was always a little bit of a hook at the end of each episode
Yeah.
to make you want to follow where it's going with the next episode. So if you are a parent watching it with your 3 or 4 year old,
Yep.
there's something for you to follow along with. As far as the older shows, my kids actually did really enjoy He-Man. Really got into She-Ra a
Yeah,
lot.
good.
Cool.
But it's been fun for me to go back because I loved it so much when I was a kid, and then I watch it now, and you go, "Wow, they really skimped on the animations and the voiceover work, especially She-Ra, for whatever reason, because there's so whatever. I guess female voice actors didn't exist apparently in the 80s. I don't know what happened, but
They
there
did
are
a Shakespeare style, just the men did all.
Oh
the
my
voices.
oh my
For
goodness!
women.
There's some characters that are just painful to listen to, but yeah, it's really fun to watch which stills they use in every single episode.
Yes.
Because they could churn so many episodes out in such a short period
Absolutely, and you
Yeah.
could have a full half face on the screen, and all you had to change was the mouth.
of time.
As long as you had that thing, and then you turn in and bob and
It was
walk away.
always when they started running, it was like the same sequence over and over. The background's the same,
And
everything.
you could always tell when they had to draw a new cell for that episode because they didn't have one of the faces in the stash in the back because it didn't look quite right.
Right.
It's like that's not exactly right. There was going back to Teen Titans Go. There was a fantastic episode of that one where Control Freak turned them into a Super Friends pastiche,
Yes.
which was just phenomenal. And it was the exact same thing. It was just like the same 6 cells over and over. Every time Robin talked, it was the same pose. I was like, this is exactly my childhood.
And they mock the narrator in the background. Like, why don't where they actually criticize how story narrative works better when you show and not just tell it, and it's like, well, then what's the point of the narrator? And the narrator takes great offense to this description. So, yeah, it's
I one of my favorites as a kid was G.I. Joe, and so I had high hopes from because we watched it on like a Boomerang or something, which shows old school ones, and of course my kids just didn't get into it, didn't like it. They just the soldier thing didn't hitch them, and that's fine. But I loved how they totally caught one of the things of the show, and they both go, how come nobody dies on this show? They always eject right when they're about to get blown up, and I'm like, yup, that's it.
Yeah, all right, kids, let's watch Godfather. I'm picking up on your signals, okay?
Have you ever gone a little bit further back beyond the shows of the '80s, gone back to the Merry Medleys, the
Yes,
the classic Looney Tunes and the classic Disney cartoons as well?
absolutely. So that was actually one of my memories of Saturday morning cartoons as a kid. Was my dad and I having a fight, a full out fight because he wanted to watch Bugs Bunny, I wanted to watch Smurfs. And it was a battle, and it was a legitimate battle. It wasn't a goofing around battle. It was a legitimate battle.
That's also good parenting on your father's part. So kudos to him.
Yeah, right. So yeah, no, my Caden especially loves Looney Tunes, and I've got a couple DVD collections. He absolutely loves the vintage Looney Tunes, which in my mind still are some of the best humor cartoons ever of all time.
It is a shame that those shows now are so hidden on both the cable. I think is it exclusive now to Boomerang? I can rarely find it, and then like none of this. I can't find it on any of the streaming services. We don't subscribe to the Cartoon Network.
Right.
So it might be on that one.
I haven't seen it on Cartoon Network.
It's not on that one. So
I haven't seen it.
But it's such great quality, and I know that there were some controversies in the beginning of the money with the on PC-ish type stuff, but a lot of that has turned around.
Yeah, but
as
not
well.
much actually. A lot of that more. I can see some of that more with some of the other ones like Tom and Jerry and things like that had a lot more of that, but not enough for the entire series to just go AWOL. You know, absolutely. It's still some of the most brilliant Mel Blanc's cartoons, some of the best humor ever.
The Chuck Jones animated, which are just beautiful pieces of art that with the German expressionistic type art style. And speaking of Chuck Jones, when it comes to holiday specials, Grinch Stole Christmas, which is just every time they've tried to redo it, there's going to be another version. The Illumination people are going to try this winter with another rendition of it, but it can't hold a candle to that 22-minute classic television special.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. Well, I think we did a good job scratching the surface, and that's about all you can do in this amount of time. But I think the important thing there's a lot of good TV that we can share with our kids. Like I said, when I was little, outside of Looney Tunes was about the only thing my dad and I ever watched together that we both shared. Nowadays, I think it's a completely different story. There's
Yeah.
tons of cartoons and live action, like you pointed out with Lemony, and that kids and parents enjoy together, not just one watching it because the other happens to be.
And,
So-
and as busy as we are, I think our kids know and appreciate when we watch things with them.
Yeah.
I think it does make an impression on them.
Absolutely.
We all came home after school, watched our cartoons, and by ourselves because, but there is that special moment when the family all gets
Mhm.
together and laugh at the same things, talk about it afterwards,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
enjoy a shared experience together.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks, guys. And thank you for listening to episode 3. And we will talk to you really soon.